Alright, so let's start it. So in here in the resources, I actually have a PPT for it, PowerPoint, the MongoDB. Alright. So this is a just basic introduction. So what is a Mongo database, and how can we use it? Alright. So like to download and install it, you just need to there's an installation guide here to help you to install it. Oops, I think it's not working, but it is in here, installation guide here. Alright. Yes, in here, and you just go to the MongoDB part. Hit it, but MongoDB just down here. Alright, just somewhere down here, so help you to install it. Let's keep going. So MongoDB is a NoSQL database. NoSQL, it means not SQL. Not SQL means like relational database, and NoSQL means this database has there's no actually relationship between the data we stored inside it. So traditionally, we like companies are using the relational database. We store data in tables, right? We're gonna talk about it more in the future. And so, for example, if for the user data, we're going to have a user table, and for the page data, we're going to have a page table. And for the website data, we have a website table. This is how usually we store things. So for example, I'm storing on the whiteboard. Like this is one table, which is the user table. And we have data here like a username. It's just like an Excel sheet. And we have like a password, first name, last name, something like that. And this is a traditional how we store data in the database. And also like when we have another table for the website, and we have the website name. It has a user ID here, refers to which user it is. And we have a website that has may have a description, and it has own ID. The same thing for here. It should have its own ID for the user. So we're just using tables to store the different type of data in the SQL database, and the way we connect it together is just using something called keys, primary key and foreign key. It's going to introduce it later. So, like for example here, in the website, we actually have a user ID in this column, showing which user this website belongs to, and our job is to link this user ID with the user's ID field in this table, and this is how we know which website is belongs to which user, and link them together. Right? So for NoSQL database, it's not that complicated. It's very simple. There's no adding logic inside it. All we need to do is just directly put the JSON object inside the database. The NoSQL database is just you will be able just directly put any kind of like a JSON object inside it, and it doesn't check the type for you. It doesn't really care about or it does the user should have a username, does the user should have a password. Doesn't really care about what field you want to save inside it. All you need to do is just directly put the JSON object inside it. All right, and every time when you're trying to looking for something inside it, you can check with it. Can you just provide me? Is there any data with ID equal to like a 1, 2, 3? Is there any data with username equal to Alice? Is there any data with a page name equal to like page 1, something like that, right? So there's no schema in the database. It doesn't really care about what data type is stored inside it. And to start the Mongo database, we're going to use a command called MongoD. Firstly, I didn't introduce you how to download it, but so the Mongo database is already downloaded for the computers you are using here in this lab. But if you want to download it and install it on your own computer, you're gonna need to go to the Google, just search for the Mongo database, MongoDB, and you just go to the website here. It's gonna introduce it. MongoDB is a open source NoSQL database, and you just go to the get MongoDB. I guess it's here, and you will be able just to download it. Right? It's totally free. I guess they changed their page, but it's fine. This is still the same thing. Right? So after you download it, you just let me just download it again. I think I can just download it again. Is this MongoDB? Sorry, here MongoDB download center. No. I think they changed the place of it. Community. So is this what one? Let me double check it. So in the installation guide, I actually have a link for that. I'm not sure why I cannot find it anymore. MongoDB. Right, download MongoDB. I actually have a link for it. Yeah, so install on Windows. Just click that and download it. This is installation guide. I just want to install it. MongoDB. I guess they just changed the website. I think I should choose in the server here, the MongoDB community server. Yeah, I double check about it. But if it's using the lab computer, you should already have this installed. So once we install the MongoDB, you will be able to just open your terminal and run the command to start the MongoDB. So hosting a MongoDB here. So the command is called MongoD. MongoD, right? So once you type that, it's saying MongoDB starting, and with some PID, and the port is equal to 27017, right? And it will saying like some something like waiting for connections on port 27107, and this is how it should look like, right? If you see something like a arrow cannot open the MongoDB, that means you may missing a folder here, because like by default, the Mongo database is using a folder in your C drive. It's called a data folder, and in that folder you have to. So if you don't have this, you have to create it by yourself. Just right-click the C drive and make a new folder, call it data. And in the data folder, create another folder called DB. This is a default location for the Mongo database to store your data. You just open that, all your data are stored inside here, right? Like whenever you create a user, you create a website, everything is stored in this C drive, in this DB folders. Here is the default location for the Mongo database. We're going to use that too to store our data. All right. You see like here, the DB path is equal to C drive, data folder, and DB. This is the default location for the MongoDB stored data. And once you do the MongoD, and you see the same result as mine, like waiting for the connections on port 27017. This is meaning like it is hosting the Mongo database on the port 27017 and waiting for any connections, incoming connections to request for any data, and it's going to it is ready for giving back any response, right? To directly manually modifying the data inside it, we will open another terminal window. This is MongoDB. We're going to leave that open, just minimize it. It's just hosting our database. Actually, let's put it, let me put it on the right. You'll see like how it changes. Right, this is MongoDB. And I'm going to open another one. So this one, we are going to connect it remember this MongoDB is waiting for connections, right? The MongoDB is waiting for connections. Right now, we're going to use this terminal to connect it to that database, and so we'll be able to manually modify the data we have inside it. So this one is going to be Mongo. We use command Mongo. Right, so you're seeing this, we are connected to the Mongo database, and it also tells you the version of the Mongo database. Right, like it's connected to that Mongo database, and with the 1270.0.0.1, this is just basically the local host. This is IP address for a local host, and like here 27017 is a port for the Mongo database. And right now we are linking this terminal with our Mongo database, and we will be able to directly modify the data within this terminal. It's here. Because the Mongo database is not using a JavaScript anymore. It's using some another languages that uses MongoDB's command. MongoDB's language to modify data inside it. So here we're going to actually learn a new language, and actually it's very easy. Just some few commands here allows us to retrieve the information inside MongoDB, and also allows us to update data inside MongoDB. We still learn the four basic commands, including the create, retrieve, update, and delete. All right, we're going to show you how we're going to do those four basic commands inside MongoDB. So let's go back to our slides. Where is that? Not this one. Not this one. Here, MongoDB slides. So MongoDB, this is how you're going to look like. And don't forget to create the data DB folder. Right, let's create that folder before we run MongoDB. And the Mongo connected to the Mongo database server as a client. Keep going. Well, so firstly, the first command is show DBs, because in the Mongo database, it may be more than maybe have more than one database at a time. Like for example, if you have a webmaker application, you may also have a webmaker website, store all the data for the webmaker website, and then you may have another application like maybe MSimple website. Then you're going to have a database for your MSimple website. Maybe you have your final project there, and then you can have another database and store data for your final project. So show DBs is a command that's showing you how many databases you have in your Mongo database right now. So let's firstly try that. Right. So if I try here is where I connected to our Mongo database. I type the Mongo. Let's try to say show DBs. Oops, why is this no output? I think that's because Git is not very friendly to the MongoDB. Let's try to not using Git. Let's close that. Sorry about that. We're going to using the Windows command window. Just go to the here to tab command. It's really slow. Command prompt using this. Right, let's do it here. It's the same thing. Let's do a Mongo. Okay. Right now we are connected with Mongo database, and in here we're gonna try to do. Can I make the font bigger, easier for you to see? Edit. Properties. Yeah, let's change the font size. Right. So, all right. So let's try to do a show DBs, right? Show DBs. So here it's showing me how many databases I have. You see here I have 5 databases inside it. I have an admin, I have a config, and I have a local. These 3 are default ones created by the MongoDB. You don't have to worry about that. And here I have two more databases. Like this one is for the Mongo for the I call it management, and this is, I can tell you, this is where I store data for our MCM website, but it's only for test, because later we're going to create another Mongo database in our Heroku. So in the Heroku, like so our database our data will be put in that database, like in the Heroku. But this management database I have here is just for test. The same thing for this WebMaker one. Just where I store data for test. Alright, so ShowDB is basically showing you how many databases you have in this local computer, in your own computer, or how many databases you have. I have 5 here. 3 of them are created by MongoDB itself, and they just have there's no data inside it, just 0 gigabytes. And here I have 0.001 gigabytes data for the management, and no data for the WebMaker React. Right, so that's just a command showing how many databases you have. Let's check in for the next command. So I have the use with putting the database name inside it. It's going to switch to that database. If I have such database here, it's going to switch to it. For example, I can say use management. It's going to switch to the DB management, database management. If I don't have a management database, if I say, for example, if I say switch WebMaker, I don't have WebMaker website database here. I only have WebMaker React. If I type not switch the WebMaker, just use WebMaker. If I say use WebMaker, if it cannot find such database, it will create a new one for you. Right? It's going to create a new one for you. When you see, when you're trying to type a database name, like you didn't have it, and it's going to create a new one for you, right? It's going to create a new database if the database name cannot be found. This is how you tell the Mongo which database now I want to access. Right, next one. We're talking about those the 4 basic commands, like a create, read, retrieve, update, and delete. Firstly, we have the one called show collections. It will show all the collections of data you have in database. Let's using the management database as example. Let's firstly try to use the management. And if I type show collections, you see here it's giving me some a list like assignment, grade, picture, user, and wiki. So those are the data I stored in the database. I have the data for the assignment, I have data for the user, I have data for the grade, I have data for the wiki, and I have data for the picture. Those basically telling you how many different kinds of data you have in the database. Remember, I said in the relational database, our data are stored as tables, right? Like we have user table, we have a page table, we have like a website table, and in the MongoDB there's no tables. We call them collections. We have a collection of user, I have a collection of the website, I have a collection of page. All data are stored as collections. Right? We just call them different, and each collection basically just have some JSON data inside it. So we're going to say it shortly. All right, this is just show collections. Show all the collections of data you have in the database. Some basic command. Those are going to be the things you have to memorize. If you forget it, you can always check it online, but this is going to be the only language you will be able to use to connect it to your database and modify it. And the first real command we're going to be learned is to insert new data into our database. It's going to be, the command I already give here is db connection name and .insert. This is a command of how you're going to connect with your database. All right. This is a command how you're going to insert data into a database. So let's try to do it. So first, let's switch switch our database. Let's try to use WM4.0. Right, WM4.0 database, and let's try this database right now. If I do show collections, let's say like this database is empty right now. I just created it. There's no any data inside it, and then right now we are going to insert our first data into it. We're going to do db the insert. DB stands for the database, and we're first going to tell you which collection I want to use. There's no collection right now, so I can just give any name and sorry. For example, I can create a user collection. I say db the user, and once I inserted the first data into it, the collection will be created automatically. All right. So first I can say db the user, the insert. Insert is a function, so we can have parentheses. And in this parentheses, we're going to put the data what we want to input. Right, we're going to put the data what we want to input. And remember, it will take a JSON object in here, so we'll have a curly brace inside it. Like we're going to just put an object inside. We're going to store this JSON object into the database. We'll have object with a username is equal to Alice, right? Alice. Password is equal to Alice. Right, I just did it, and tell me right results. And number uninserted means that number of data inserted is 1. I inserted 1 line of data into it. If right now, if I try to show collections, it will tell me you already have 1 connection. It's called the user, because I just inserted an object inside it with a username equal to Alice and password equal to Alice. Right? This is how you're going to insert your first line of data into it. And after you insert the first data, the collection will be created automatically for you. Right? We just inserted 1 data to the user collection, and they just create a user collection for me and put this data inside it. So let's check in the next command. Right. So this one is called find. It's going to be db.name database name.find. It's going to be the way you find the data. You're showing the data in the collections you want, right? For example, I have a user collection. I want to show the data I have inside it. I'm going to say db the user the find. Right? You hit enter. See here, this is data I have inside it. Here it has a username equal to Alice and password equal to Alice. And this one, you see, it just automatically creates an ID for us. It's just generated a random ID for us. Right, the ID like file B, FD, something like that. You don't have to worry about, but you just need to know there's going to be a unique ID for this Alice object. This is just db user the file. It's going to be find all the data you have in your collection. Let's try to insert some more data. Let's try to insert a username with Bob, password Bob. This is our second data. And let's insert another one, like a Charlie. Yeah, I have 3 data. And right now, if I try to db the user, the find, it's going to return all data I have here. The first one is Alice, second one is Bob, and the third one is Charlie. Right? Show you all data you have it. And then there is another options to show data is like once you type db the user the find, and you also add a pretty after the find. And this one is going to help you to organize your data, make it looks more human friendly. See, this is just basically the same data, but it just organizes it, make it more readable for you. Like ID, username, password, ID, username, password, ID, username, password. Like you have data for Alice, for Bob, and for Charlie, and it's just generated a random ID for all the data I have here. Right? It's just basically all the IDs here are going to be unique. It's generated ID for the data you insert, and each time you insert a new object, it's going to generate a new ID for you. And yeah, this is so we already know like how to insert. This is insert is for create, and we'll have the find. Find is for retrieve data. We will be able to insert and retrieve data inside the database. And next command is for remove. How should we remove the data inside it? So remove. When you remove data, you're gonna have two options. One is to remove all the data you have in the database. Another one is just remove the data with conditions you provide. For example, I only want to remove data whose username equals to Alice, and or maybe I only want to remove data whose password is equal to Charlie. It will be able to do so. Alright? So for example, I can say db.user remove. I want to remove data from user collection. So if you do not type anything, just say db.user remove, it's going to remove all data you have in the database. Let's try it. Hit enter. Oops, error. I think I need to give an empty I need to give an empty curly brace inside it. Tell him like I just want to remove everything inside it. Yeah. So it's telling me the number of removed are 3. Remove three lines of data. Right now, if I do show collections, I still have the user collections because I didn't delete the collection. But if I try to say db.user.find, there's no data inside it. Right? It's empty. All data is just gone because I just did the db.user.remove. And with there's no any condition, it's just empty curly brace. It's just going to remove all data that I have there. Let's try to insert.
Is it still showing the user data when you do the show collections?
Well, because when you're trying to remove, it's only remove the data inside the collection. It doesn't remove the collection itself. The collection is still there, right? There's going to be a command to remove the collection. I think it's called db.user.drop. Yeah, when you drop, when you're trying to choose collections, it says there's no any collections. Drop is the way you remove the collections, but you're barely going to remove the collections because the collections you can just keep it there. It doesn't really harm. Even you don't have any data inside there. But if you just want to remove it, you're gonna use the drop command to remove it. All right. So let's try to insert the data back again to the user collection. So let's insert Alice. Let's insert Bob, and insert Charlie. Alright, let's try it again. db.user.find .pretty, just to make it more human readable. So again, I have 3 data here, and then right now if I just want to remove the Bob's information here, I only want to remove whose username equal to Bob. So it's going to be db.user.remove, and in this curly brace, I'm going to say I want to remove the one with username is equal to Bob. db.user.remove, and here I say I just want to remove the data whose username equal to Bob. Hit enter, and there's only one data is removed here, right? So if I try to say db.user.find pretty, you see I only have 2 data here. The Bob one is removed. So this is how you specify which collection, which object you want to remove from the collection. All right, this is how you specify which object you want to remove from the collection. Let's keep going. This for the remove, and the last one is for the update. It's for the update. Update will allow us to update the current data we have there to something else you want. So it's going to be, the command is db.user.update. But update is a little bit special because you like when you try to update something, you're gonna tell him which one you want to update. Do you want to update Alice or you want to update Charlie? And what do you want to update it to? For example, here, if I want to update the password of Alice into something else, and tell him, right? So first thing I'm going to tell him, first it takes a curly brace, tell him like which one you want to update. I want to update the one with username equal to Alice. Don't forget the curly brace. Oops, sorry. Don't forget the quotation marks, Alice. And it also takes another curly brace, separated with a comma, I believe. Yeah. So you're gonna say, what do you want to update it to? I want to update it to with a username. Well, I still want the username equal to Alice, but I want to change the password equals to Bob. Right? I still want the username equal to Alice, but I want to change the password to Bob. Let's hit enter here. Let's see. All right, we found one data object. Well, we found one object that matches what you want to change, whose username equals Alice, and we modified that one for you. We found one and we modified one. Right? So let's check it. db the user the find the pretty. You see, we just updated the password of Alice into Bob. So it's actually very easy. It only has a few commands you need to remember to allows you to access and modify data inside it. And there's not actually any rules in the Mongo database. You will be able to insert anything you like, any JSON object you want, and you just need to have like using the Mongo database command to communicate with it. You can either insert data, find data, update data, or delete data. There's no actually rules for the Mongo database, so it's very simple. So if I actually show DBs, you say just create the WebMaker database, right? And then like if I want to use any database, you say use WebMaker, and I just switch it to that database, right? It's very simple. And let's say show collections. What collections I have it? I have user collection. I want to say how many data I have it. I just say db the user the find. Tell me what data I have it. This is data I have it. And if I want to remove it, I'm going to say db the user. I want to remove the data from the user collection. Remove all of them. Just give an empty curly brace, and just remove the two of them. So there's no any data inside it right now. Right? It's actually very simple. Just 4 commands: create, update, read, and the delete. All right? Just 4 basic commands of MongoDB, and those are going to be the command when we're trying to manually communicate with the MongoDB. And our next step is to connect our database with our server. So whenever the server receives a request, and we are going to ask the server to send another request to the database. Ask it to tell the database, please run the command to remove it, run the command to insert it, or run the command to update stuff into it. Right? So our next step is to connect our code, our web application code, to this database. Right? We can basically close this MongoDB windows here, but remember, you're going to leave your MongoDB running. MongoDB is the one hosting the website. Once you close it, there's no application can connect it to it. Right? You will have to open the MongoDB to make it always ready for any incoming request and give back the response. Right? So let's go back to our code. So here I already have it. It's just running here. I already have the ng server running and node server running. Let's see if it's still working. We're going to close that. Localhost 4200. See if that still works. Yesterday we finished everything and still working. Has the username Alice, password Alice. Login. Still works. Alright, it still works. Log out. And yesterday I didn't check in the code in the hierarchy. Let's check in it right now. Make sure it is still working in the hierarchy. Go to the hierarchy and choosing the WebMaker. This one. Open the application. Right, so it's still working. Okay, I should be able to log in. Oops, to log in Alice. Yeah, it still works. This is the one for the production mode running on the hierarchy. Right, don't have to worry about that as long as it worked. So right now, all data is stored in the server, and that means once you restart the server, data is gone. We can prove it, like it's logging with Alice. Go to websites. Here's all the 3 websites it has. Let's create a new one. Let's call it web test, and the test website. Submit. So this is our first website here, and if I reload the page, it's still here because our data is not in the client side, it's in the server side. So that means if I go back to my application, I stop the server and restart it, the data is gone. If I reload the page, you will see the web tester is gone. So it's just gone because it's not stored really in our disk. It's just temporarily stored in the RAM. Once you restart the server, it's just not gonna keep the data inside there because that shouldn't be the place where you want to store data. And right now we are going to move all our data into database. And also every time when we're trying to send a request to a server, the server going to send another request to the database and asking the data from it, right? Or give a command to the database. So let's start doing it. So we have our assignment WebMaker 4. Right, WebMaker 4. This is for the fifth. This is talking about the database development, right? For this one, we are going to firstly talk about how to connect to Mongo database right now. Like we're going to firstly using a library called Mongoose. Mongoose is a library which is going to help us to communicate between the server and the database. Like whenever you send out a request to a server, and you will be using Mongoose to send out another request from the server to the database. Right, this is what this library is doing. So let's firstly install this library. Let's open another terminal here. We're going to db not db. It's npm install --save. We're going to install Mongoose. Takes a minute to install that. So just let it install. So once it's installed, you will be able to start to link your database with your application. All right. So I already provide some code here for you to do so. Yeah. So first thing we're going to do is to keep our code clean, we are going to put our database data into one folder. We're going to put that firstly in the server folder. Let's create a new folder inside the server. Right, we're going to put a folder called models. All the data or the functions related to the Mongo database going to be stored in the models here, right? In the models folder here. Installation is already finished. Let's close the terminal. In the models, we're firstly going to link this application with the database. Remember, we host our database in the port 27017. So we're going to tell the application we are going to connect our application to that port. So let's create a new file here. It's going to be models.server.js. This is file going to be a configuration, tell the application we want to link. I already provided the code we are using inside here. Right. This is basically the code we're going to use it. We're going to copy that, put that into our code here. Right. This basically is a code used to link our application with Mongo database. Let's explain them one by one. Actually, let's make it bigger. So firstly, is create a connection to the MongoDB 127.0.0.1. I told you this is just for the local host. 127.01.0.1. This is just for local host, and this is the port 27017. And after this one, there's a slash webdiv. The webdiv is basically the name for your collection you want to use. This is basically specifies the name of collections. Remember, like sorry, not the name for the collection, the name for the database. Remember, we use we create a database name called WebMaker, and this one is going to connect to the web div. You will be able to change it to any name of database you prefer. For example, here I want to connect this one to the database WebMaker. So just type web-maker here. By doing that, all the commands you give to the Mongoose is going to it's going to connect it with the WebMaker database and do those commands for you in that the database you specify here, right? So in here we're going to connect to the WebMaker website. WebMaker database, right? Right. So that is for the database. This is for local, so it means this is for the local database, like when we're trying to test. Because we're only using the local host when we're trying to test it within our own computer. Once we send our code to hierarchy, it's not going to be using the same database name. Alright, and the second part here, it is surrounded by an if case. If there is a mlam username webdiv, if there is such things, it's going to run code inside it. And I can tell you this is for the hierarchy setup. It's going to checking if we have this variable available, and this will going to tell you this is running on the hierarchy, and we're going to set up a username, set up a password, and instead of we're going to change the connection string into this thing. Right? Remember, like before that, the connection string is connected to connection string is our local database, and once we know this is not running locally, this is running on hierarchy, we're going to change our connection string, depends our username and password. We're going to talk about it in a second and tell you why we have to do that. All right. And then we use Mongoose to connect it to that connection string. Here I say the variable Mongoose equal to require Mongoose. Require Mongoose basically just it's easy, just import the Mongoose database. Sorry, it import the Mongoose library, right? Variable Mongoose just import require Mongoose just import the Mongoose library. Let's just add some comments. This one is import Mongoose library, and then we link them together. We use mongoose.connect. Mongoose has some predefined method. Connect is the one we use to connect the database with the server. Right? This is connect server with database. And remember, we already created the connection string. It's changing if we are running locally. It's using the localhost 27017. If we're running on the hierarchy, it's using something else, right? And then we just export it. Just export this file. It's very simple. Just create a connection string and say mongoose.connect. And once we have this one is ready, we are going to put this one into our app.js. App.js is where, remember this is the main entry for all our services files. Remember, like we have server.js linked with this app file linked with the different services file. We're also going to link our Mongoose database inside this file. So we're gonna have a require. Actually, I want to prefer to put it in the first line. Actually, all the doesn't really matter, but just want to make more sense. I'm gonna require when import it. It's going to be /models folder and the model.server.js file, right? It doesn't really need an app parameter because this is not a function. And this is how you connect your database with your server. Right? Don't forget you need to leave your MongoDB running, otherwise it's not going to be able to connect it. Let's try to restart the server, see how it looks like. Node server. I'm getting a warning here. Deprecation warning. Current URL to use the new processor. I think it's just some warnings. It's telling you like you may want to using something called use a new user processor true here. Give me a second. So I think the way you fix it is like when you're trying to connect to the connection string, you also put this one here. You also put the user processor equal to true inside here. It's going to remove that warning for you. I'm going to have a connection string come on and this user processor equal to true. Let's try it again. Now the server, there's no warning anymore. But right now this is connect with Mongo database, right? So I just want to let you know, like if let me disconnect it. If you forget to do the MongoDB, like for example, if I close this, I just shutting it down, and I want to do the MongoDB right now. If I want to try to do a node server to run our server right now, it's gonna tell you. Oops, it's actually not. Yeah, it's telling you there's some errors. I cannot Mongo network error. Fail to connect to the server 127.1 port 27017. This is like I cannot connect to the Mongo database because I just closed the MongoDB here. Remember that? So in order to run the server right now, you have to leave your MongoDB running, which is waiting for the connections from the server in the database, right? So let's open the MongoDB again here, MongoDB. And we'll leave that running. Let's go back. Right now, if I do the node server, you see there's no any error. I'm running on the 700, right? Just remember, leave your MongoDB running. It's either in a terminal outside or in the terminal in the VS Code. It doesn't really matter, but you leave that open. It's just waiting for the connections. And right now they're connected together, the server and the Mongo database. And this is how you set it up for a local testing. And also, before we start to implement the code, we're also going to connect, set up our hierarchy side. Remember, like once we send our code to the hierarchy, it's not going to be using our local database. It's going to create a new database hosting in your hierarchy. So we're going to also install the MongoDB on the hierarchy. Right, let's go there. Let's go to the Mongo. Let's go to the hierarchy. I also have this installation. I also have this the tutorial how to link your application to the how to install the MongoDB on your hierarchy in our installation guide. Right, in the resource here. In the installation guide, there is the installation guide for you to install the MongoDB on the hierarchy. So we're going to show you how to do it. So we are going to go to the WMaker SW here. This is the application for our application, and we're going to here is a field for install add-ons, and there's no add-on for this application right now, and we are going to install the MongoDB here as an add-on for our application. Let's go to the configure add-ons. Looking for application called MLab MongoDB. This is for the MongoDB application. So we are going to using the free one, sandbox free. This is for the test. We are going to providing it. So once you do it by yourself, it may be going to ask you your credit card information. It's going to ask you your your card number for verification, but it's not going to charge you any money. It's totally free, all right? But it will ask you to put your credit card information here. Once you want to update from the free version to the paid version, they will be able to allow you to do so. So just don't worry about your security. Just put your card information here. It won't charge you anything. It's totally free. I've used it for many years. Alright, so right now if you go back to your overview, you'll see like we have one installer add-on here. It's MLab MongoDB, And we also, as it's not done yet, we also need to configure it. Let's click that one here. Let's click it. It's going to bring you to the your MLab configuration. Alright, so a few things we need to do here. First thing is, it's already tell you if you want to connect to this online driver, to this MongoDB online, you're going to connect it to this URL link. Can you hear this URL link? Alright, so it's going to be MongoDB / username with a DB user and DB password, and with this following things here. We're going to copy that. Let's copy that, and I'm going to bring that to our application. Remember, I have the connection string here. This is for the MongoDB. You're going to change that into the one for yours. This is for mine, and yours going to look different. So remember, like the one we just copied, let's paste it here. This is the one we are going to use. So we are going to just need the rest of the part after the @. Gonna copy that and replace the one I have it here. Gonna remove that, put it here. All right. I don't need that anymore. So this is a connection string for your database. You are going to connect to your own database, not mine. So this is your own database. All right. And right now they're going to communicate with this, trying to communicate with this database. And also remember, we need a username and a password to do so. Username and password. And then we're going to create a user here. So let's go to the users, click users here. And then we're going to add a new user and a database user. And we're going to create a username and password that allows us to access to this database. So username, just give anything like in mine, I can say admin. Password, just password. You need at least one numeric character, password 1. Right, this is mine, just using something for yourself. Right, just don't forget it. Right, you need to remember that for connecting to it. Right, so then I have that username, that user select created. I created that user here. Right. So right now, if we provide the admin username, and it going to allows you to connect to this database, and we can basically close this MLab right now. We are done with this MLab setting, and there is one more thing you need to set it is in the settings of the Heroku website. In here, we need to configure some variables. For example, here. In our models, the server.js, we have if we have some variable called process inf mlab username web, then we're going to set up username use something else, password use something else, and then change a connection string into the one we connected to the Heroku database, right? This is for the production database. So we are going to create those variables into the Heroku application. So we're going to create a variable called mlab username webdiv, and we're going to create a variable called the mlab password webdiv. So when we're running our application on the Heroku, they will be able to find those variables. But when we're running our code locally, it cannot find those variables. So this is the way we distinguish the database locally and the database running in the Heroku. Alright? So in your Heroku, we're going to create the variable, configure variable, you're going to create it here. The first one I'm going to create is mlab. You can just copy this name here. Just copy this one. Copy that. Now put that in here. Mlab username div. Just put the username you just created for the database, which is admin. And for the password, you're gonna copy this one. Mlab password webdiv. And you give the password you just put for your own application. Right? By doing that, right? So doing that, it will be like able to find this username and find this password when you run your code in your hierarchy. And this one, since this one is going to give you true, and the connection string will be updated to the one connected to your hierarchy database instead of your local database. Alright? So after you're doing that, it should be done. Everything you need to do is it to create a database locally and connect database in your hierarchy. Right? Let me try to. So right now, let's just try to send our code to your hierarchy. See if that's still working. Let's create a new file here. Okay, new terminal here. Let's do ng build product. Let's try to send our code to your hierarchy. Make sure everything is still working. Takes a few minutes. %. Right, just checking. It's trying to check any error inside of your application. If there's no any error, it's going to compile your files and minimize it to the smallest size, because this is going to be the code downloaded to the client computer. Alright, so there's no any error, and let's try to do a git add dot, send everything to GitHub, git commit, connect to MongoDB, and git push. Yeah, we'll push it out code. Takes some time. Alright, so your code, once you push your code here, it's going to compile it here. Yeah, it's starting to build. And let's open the logs here. I'm interested in is there any error inside it. Build started by the user who here, and it just started. Takes a few minutes to build and checking the errors. Alright, so it's saying it's already process exists, and start process with command running and build successfully. Let's try to open the app, and it works. Right, there's no any error. So once everything is still working, you can try it. But right now, data is still in the server. We have to remove our data from server to database. We just connect to database right now. We will be able to give command right now, but we haven't give any. Right? So today's job is just connect your application with your database. And if you are using your own laptop, you may have to try to download the MongoDB by yourself. I think it's just search for the MongoDB. And you just need to download the community server here. I think it's this one, right? Yeah, I think it's this one, and then install it, right, on your own computer if you're using your own computer. And if you're using a lab computer, we already have those installed. And all you need to do is just following the instruction I have in this guide here, also the video, to connect your database with your application in the your local code, also in your Heroku. Alright? I'm going to upload the code, upload the video to the YouTube right now, and you will be just able